Yes, we made it. Okay. Hi, everybody. We're we got noise canceling AI software preventing people from hearing the insanity of the commotion. There's a conversation going on like a football field away, and it's still loud enough you could probably hear it over the AI. Can you? Yeah. Well, we can hear each other just barely. I don't know. Fingers crossed. So hi, I'm Josh, and you are
My name is Joris Kuipers.
Joris Kuipers. Yeah, and I've known you for at least since I joined, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was it. So I've been working in the past for Spring Source, even back when it was called Enterprise 21. Not in the same position as Josh, who was a developer advocate.
No, he did real work.
I've been mostly into training and consultancy, actually.
Right.
Is what I did.
Yeah.
And all the way till the VMware acquisition.
Right.
And then I left and joined Trifork, which is where I'm currently working.
How far after the acquisition?
About 2 years in, I think.
Okay, so I think we overlapped for like a year.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. And that's what I'm saying. I've known you basically ever since.
I needed some stock to vest before I could leave, but I never witnessed personally the pivotal spin-off. So it was before.
Oh yeah, it was before that.
So it was the first VMware era, I guess.
There's a lot of people like you that. So we talk about I talk about the Spring diaspora, right? The tribes of. Yeah, perfect. The stream just faltered. You're a huge entity here. Eberhard Wolf.
Yeah, Germany, of course. Yeah.
Germany, right? Julian Dubois, right? Like, I mean, these in France. Like, there's some people that have just gone on and done independently amazing things, and I just, it's not a surprise, obviously, given the caliber of the people that were there. So here we are, 2023, a full 13 years after you and I would have first talked. And glad to see you, man. It was like, I saw you in the audience. I'm like, oh, this is great.
Yeah. Also, because it is indeed all a big family. Actually, we heard about the event from David Caron, who works for Pivotal / VMware, but was next Trifork as well.
Right.
So he's the guy that comes over.
And he lives on a houseboat, which
he does.
Super cool.
Yeah,
like I want to live on a houseboat. I heard it's really difficult here.
Yeah, it is now to get in. Yeah,
we're in Amsterdam. We're in Spring One Tour Amsterdam, which is you missed it. If you had to come, too bad. Get your tickets for next year.
On the 17th, there is a virtual one, right? So if people
join, I forgot about that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, do that one. 17th. You didn't miss it. It's gonna be fine. You can join now. That's this month. It's probably this month. It sounds like it's this month. Anyway, I know what I'm doing. So do you live in a houseboat?
No, I don't. I live actually just south of Amsterdam in Amstelveen, but it's biking distance.
Yeah.
And the location where we are today is actually super close to the Trifork office, so I can bike.
So did you found Trifork?
No. The founders of the previous company, we were acquired by Trifork, and before that, the original company name was J-Team. And that was founded by a couple of people, including Aleph.
I'm sorry, yeah.
And he's actually one of the people that brought me into to Spring Source. But he also then later, when VMware acquisition happened, it was my former manager and his manager, Steven Schuurman,
right,
who asked me to join their other company, and that became the Trifork company after an acquisition. So that's how
team got acquired by Trifork. Okay,
yeah,
I think I knew that.
Basically.
I mean, and was Allard, why is it part of it?
Yeah, Allard was CTO when I joined. Or shortly after I joined, actually, Bram Smeets was the first CTO, and then Allard
of J-Team.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And then Allard went to our spin-off, Axonic.
Right, exactly.
He's now successfully running their own business.
Right.
And since he left, I stood up as a new CTO.
Oh,
so that's what I'm currently doing. Yeah,
some amazing people.
I am CTO.
Right. Well, you're worthy of the title.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that they needed somebody of your worth to take the job. That's great. I mean, it's just this is again I've got good relationships with a lot of these players, and even I forget sometimes the web.
Yeah.
Like
very interesting indeed.
Okay, so tell me about it. I mean, I was really glad to see you here. Honestly, I wasn't expecting. I don't know what I was expecting when I came in this morning. I didn't have enough coffee. With the caffeine, not the other kind of coffee here. That's the other thing people who have never come here before should be aware of. There are two kinds of coffee shops, both fun, but for different reasons. And be careful about the one you're going into. Okay, so you're at Trifork. What do you like? What's that about?
Yeah, what
is-
we do
is
in
Trifork?
well, actually, Trifork as a global company is doing a lot of different things. They're originally Danish, now I think mostly for tax reasons, a Swiss company. But they have multiple smaller organizations doing all sorts of things related to computers and software. But we in Amsterdam, we build custom enterprise applications. That's our main business. For a whole variety of customers, we're not specifically in one field like finance or education. We do everything.
Right.
It's our tech stack really. That's our strong point, which is Java Spring or Kotlin Spring.
Yeah.
People want.
Talk about that.
We do both.
Yeah.
Both actually. Yeah. Combinations. And we organize also the GOTO conference. So GOTO Amsterdam is something that we do.
So we got some people. We should talk about that actually. So we've got some people. Hello. Let me see. Got some nice hellos and greetings. Hello to you both. Great. Thank you for that. Hi. Hello. I said that they missed it, and actually this fellow just says no, didn't miss it, just left. That's the one who wrote the book. Good to see you again.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, thanks for the book. There you go. Exactly. Yeah. Hello from Stockholm. Pity you couldn't make it, but hey, you're close by. Hi from Vietnam. That's amazing. Nice to see you. Great. Okay, so your reputation precedes you, my friend.
International.
Yeah. You're an international coder of history. I don't know, whatever. So okay. So you've got this. It sounds like it's an empire of like really capable engineers, and you've got a conference you go to. Is that all? It was started by Trifork?
Yeah, it was originally called YAO, but no one could pronounce that. So it became GOTO.
Oh,
yes, the Java Object Oriented Conference or something like that.
Right.
That became GOTO, and they originally did it in Denmark, so it was Aarhus, Copenhagen, and then it became also global thing. And this is actually how we became part of Trifork. We helped them to organize the first GOTO Amsterdam, and they liked us so much that they bought us basically.
So wait, YAO is JAOO,
yeah.
but it used to be okay.
That is what turned into GOTO. Yeah,
That got turned. So this, and I've spoken at that one, and I've spoken at GOTO,
yeah,
and even somebody who's been to these events, in Sweden and in here, I've done GOTO Aarhus. I've done GOTO.
You've been in GOTO Amsterdam, actually?
Amsterdam, yeah. Did that one in the
spring track.
Berlash.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
The market, right?
Yeah.
Northern Thailand. Look at that. All these people that are just happy to see you. Look at that. Very good. So hello from Singapore, right? We got people from all around the world who are just happy to talk to somebody as amazing as you, my friend. So yeah, that event was. Are you on the chair of that or like?
Yeah, a program committee.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, and for a long time it was Trifork Global who organized it. We just helped out, but last year and also this year we're doing it ourselves basically.
Well,
so
do
that's
you
nice.
want a speaker next year?
Yeah, well, we're still actually looking for speakers, so we're setting up the program.
I could serve coffee.
Yeah.
Something, you know.
No, it's nice. It's a conference that for those of you watching who know about GOTO, is general software development oriented. So it's not specifically on Java or .NET or something like that.
It's a really highbrow show.
Yeah,
honestly, take this as a compliment. It's up there with like QCon
exactly.
and YOW, YOW, exclamation mark in the Australia.
Actually, that is part of the GOTO.
Now it is.
Brand.
Yeah, recently.
Exactly.
But that's another one that's just super highbrow. Like these are the for whatever reason, they've also invited me over many years, but usually they have great speakers, right? Despite their missteps with me. And like you get like just like with GOTO, you get these like, I don't know, has Martin Fowler been at your
definitely.
Of course. Yeah. It's like it's just a really good show. Really good show.
Fowler stopped speaking altogether, right? He doesn't like it anymore.
Who does it?
Martin Fowler.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's probably a good idea. Yeah, it's
just writes now. Yeah, I like his writing actually more than a lot of his speaking. So that's
yeah. Oh, hey, from Germany. Oh, small world. Look at that. Just next door, sort of. Good stuff. Welcome everybody. Hi. Good. From Barat. Where's this? I'm not very good with
no, I don't know either.
Geography. Where's that? One of these. I'll look it up later. I should look it up now. Okay. Keep talking. So tell us. So why did you join India? But where in India? Why did you join Trifork? Why not go to? Why not start your own thing? What, like you had come out of consulting with the Spring team, right?
Yeah, it was basically because of my manager and his boss had ties to the company that I currently work at already.
Right.
So they asked me to go over there. Also, it was because of personal reasons as well with Spring Source.
Right.
I used to travel a lot, just to customers, to do training all over Europe, and nowadays I have 4 kids. So
congrats.
I got more and more over the years, and I thought that would be a good reason to say, well, I'm going to travel a little bit less. I want something more close to home, more stable.
Yeah.
And this was that job offering, basically.
I see. Yeah.
So that helped. And what also didn't help with Spring Source was one of the greatest jobs I've ever done. Partly because it was super diverse, right?
Super diverse.
Yeah, we did consultancy, we created trainings, we delivered trainings, we did all sorts of things. We wrote blogs, articles. Then we got acquired by VMware,
and also they created Spring.
Yeah, like, so yeah, but I wasn't really involved in that.
I know, but yeah, Spring Source. I know you fed back into the engineering teams.
Yeah,
and that got turned into features that were in the Spring projects.
But for me personally, things changed quite dramatically after the VMware acquisition because they don't understand that you can have a single person doing consultancy, creating training, delivering for 3 departments at least.
Yeah, it is.
So you have to choose, and then after a while, you're just delivering trainings. As a trainer, I like to do trainings occasionally based on the experience I get with being hands-on. And I can actually do that more easily nowadays than I could then. So that's what I still do every now and then.
You know how it is, large company life. It's a multifaceted.
Yeah, absolutely.
But each facet is huge.
Yeah, you know? Exactly.
Well, that's sort of what is the difference? Okay, you want to take a warm-up question?
A technical, yeah.
Well,
here.
What is the difference between software development and web development?
I think the one is just a subset of the other one.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that's what I would have said if I was smart.
Web development is development for sure, but there is a lot more.
Yeah,
and even web development nowadays, I think, is not that clearly defined. Is it just doing the front end? Is it the integration part? Is developing a REST API? Is that web development? No one knows. No one even knows what a REST API is nowadays.
Yeah, no.
I tend to shy away from the word using the word REST, even let's just say we're doing JSON over HTTP, so we don't get into arguments.
I talk about HTTP APIs in my
talk, exactly.
And this is one of those things where our friends on the Spring team are so prophetic.
Yeah.
You look at controller.
Yeah,
it's not tied to HTTP.
You're even shying away from REST controller, right? Just at response body now.
Because like I can use at controller with WebSockets. I can use at controller with RSocket. I can use it with GraphQL.
Yeah.
I can use it with what's the other one we just did? Lambda, right? Like you can take
functional stuff.
Yeah. Like it's just a thing that transports a protocol into business logic. It has nothing to do with the web, and necessarily it can't.
Exactly.
So you're a CTO working at the avant-garde and the cutting edge of the latest and greatest in tech in the Netherlands, a place that is itself a quagmire full of like great businesses around banking and services and all this stuff. Like it's just a really interesting hotbed of activity, and you're involved in some of the most cutting edge conferences. What are some of the patterns that people should know about? What are some of the things that like you think are going to take the world by storm?
I think in our space, something that was also a topic here today at the conference, actually in your talk as well as the other ones, was the native compilation with GraalVM.
Right.
I'm quite enthusiastic about that.
Oh, good. Me too.
For 2 reasons. One, because of the for existing applications like services that we run as microservices 24/7.
Right.
It will just be a huge cost saving.
Right.
And that means money for our customers better spent on other things.
And you and I can take the credit. See, I'm all about when the Java team delivers features and we can take credit for that.
Yeah. So that means that it'll just help the things that we do already with Java.
Yeah.
But more importantly, I think even is it opens up a whole new area of use cases where Java simply wasn't an option before because of the fast startup times, because of the overhead. So we get to use it in so many more places.
So you're being real here a little bit. I mean, we're both fans, but you're smart. So what are some of when you broach it with people, what if any is the pushback
on the native stuff, you mean?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there's plenty, of course, because it's harder. People don't understand how it works. It takes longer. And stuff may break, and then it's hard for people to find out, to debug. Yeah, what happened? I was preparing a talk on for a local meetup in Utrecht 2 weeks ago on native. So the night before, I did some preparations. I installed GraalVM on my Windows machine, so I could also do some things like showing the integration testing that is now integrated with native. You need to have a locally working GraalVM for that. I had it all set up, and then I wrote a failing test. just to showcase something, and it failed, but not because of what I thought it would fail.
Okay.
It actually failed because I was using JSON path, which I think you demo, or it was actually the second talk. We saw a demo with JSON path,
Right.
but it turns out if you use certain JSON path expressions, oh yeah, of course, that requires certain classes that represent the expression functions that you use. So they need to be available, and apparently the GraalVM metadata isn't really just there quite yet, so it would fail with cannot find certain classes when you try to. So you need to be prepared for that at least a little bit.
Totally.
But I really like being on the forefront of these sort of things and finding out about these things, because it also shows you how things actually work if they break, and then you learn to work around them, and that's how you become an expert at these things, right? You don't wait until the rest of the world has figured it all out and then have a look.
By the way, actually, I think for a lot of people who are learning software, I agree with what you're saying. I heard. I just want it just inspired a sort of related point. I'm gonna like veer away for just a second. I think to what you just said, I get asked all the time, what can I do to contribute to open source projects? If you were to go find a project that doesn't work with GraalVM,
contribute to metadata.
It is boring, dumb, mindless, but it's so valuable. It's not fun work, okay? I'm not gonna lie to you and sit here and say it's like creating the next Mona Lisa, you know, the La Joconde. It's not. It's painful. But if you do it, it's a force multiplier. Everyone that uses that project from then on down will now be able to do this, you know?
And it's huge indeed. Same experience with something like Janino. This is a library for logback that you can use for conditional logging configuration.
Wow.
That still has some issues with GraalVM, but if you can get into that, figure out the stuff that breaks, figure out maybe doing it in a different way, that is usually, this is also the story like how I ended up with something like the Spring Source company. I used to work on open source on a continuous integration tool called Cruise Control, and then I went and I went to the very first Spring One conference in Antwerp. It was like one day thing, I think, and
my old friend from Devox.
Exactly. And I was looking around for some people that I might recognize, and then I saw Aleph, and he looked at my name tag and he said, "Hey, you're the Cruise Control guy. Use that to build Spring." So this is how we actually got into contact. So getting into open source is great for a lot of different reasons, I think, but the career is definitely one of them as well.
But people will, I would be grateful if somebody made the library that I use that doesn't work with GraalVM. I'm just saying that's low-hanging fruit. And it's fun. Okay, so we have some good questions here. And by the way, that's cool what you just described. That's really, so are you going to submit a PR for the JSON path stuff?
I was thinking about doing that. Because it should be quite straightforward. Just figure out what classes are the functions there and get it into the JSON file.
Right. Yeah. You can even use a Java agent. There's like
exactly. I saw that.
We'll get into that's a whole other show. Okay, so we got some questions here, friend. I'm a Spring beginner. What version should I use? Start.spring.io. Whatever is selected there. Just go to start.spring.io, let it generate the project for you, and then you can open that up and it's got all the right versions. Okay, any tips on minimizing the costs of running Spring Boot in production? We recently had to use Node.js for some of our services, currently on Azure Spring Apps. I mean, GraalVM will do that. Project Loom will do that, right? And GraalVM, like we said, it's not going to be guaranteed, but for smaller services, it almost always works for me out of the box. For anything a little bit more complex, you might hit a JSON path or whatever.
Another thing that could also help, right? If something like GraalVM native is just a step too far still, is look at the different types of JVMs. My own project, for example, are running on OpenJ9, the IBM Sumeru stuff. It's just a bit more efficient in terms of memory. So if memory is the thing that you want to get down, that might be worth looking into.
It's true. You can get a lot of, you can squeeze, you know the expression, squeeze blood from a stone?
Yeah, exactly.
Or squeeze wine from a stone, you can totally do that with just switching JDKs these days. And then, okay, what else? For a non-tech student, what is the best tip to get started to learn computer languages?
In general, it's a big one. I think on most languages you will find plenty of tutorials and stuff. I think mostly do it yourself, right? Some people get into this trap where they just need to read up on things and think they need to know everything before they actually try stuff out themselves. Make sure you program things. Pick maybe one sample and program it in different languages if learning languages is a thing that you're looking for.
Well, if you haven't done any languages, then I would stay within.
That's true.
For the first, at least get to the point where you can write a class and understand what's happening. You know.
Yes.
So that means you have to know methods, variables, some basic imperative stuff, loops.
But nowadays there's tons of sites out there where you can learn to code.
Oh yeah,
if that's what you're after.
Yeah. Okay. So let me. So since they're the chat has gone quiet again,
Yeah.
which is fine. Let me get back to our conversation here. So, okay, so you're all in on the GraalVM stuff, like me. Good stuff. What other, like we were talking earlier about CQRS and Axon. Our friend Allard, I consider him just an amazing luminary, and he's one of those people where I don't think enough people know about him. I think he should be a lot bigger. Like it's a shame that people like me who are very loud get more attention.
exactly.
I contribute nothing. I
Oh,
just take.
For people not aware, Axon framework is an open source framework that you can use to build applications in Java that use patterns called CQRS and event sourcing.
Command Query Responsibility Segmentation, which is the original pattern CQS.
Yeah, that's
Eric Evans, right? That's domain driven design.
Yeah, CQRS is from what's his name? Who came up with the term? Well, he wrote books on it, and he even has his own .NET event store.
That's the other Canadian guy.
Yes, exactly. I'm really bad with names. Sorry for that.
Greg Young.
Yes, Greg Young. Greg Young is what I'm talking.
We're forgetting stuff.
Exactly. Allard used to be, like I said, the CTO of Trifork, and during those days, many years ago already, he read up on these things and thought, hey, it would be nice to try this out in an application. And he noticed that when you want to apply those concepts, because they're really just concepts, you do actually need quite a lot of boilerplate. You need to make sure that you can load events, that you can play them onto an empty object, which is called an aggregate, so that it gets some state.
Right.
To be able to publish these things, you need to be able to store them. There's quite a lot of, let's say, infrastructure like code. And well, as we all know, if you're into Spring, a lot of infrastructure stuff is typically better pushed down into a framework.
Absolutely. And Spring is great at frameworks on top of Spring.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what Axon basically became. And it lived in its own little niche for a while. It was popular, but I think the whole space of CQRS event sourcing was quite small. Until microservices happened, and then that is when interest exploded, because people were looking for a way to say, but how can I split up my system in a way that actually makes sense, or how can I start up with a monolithic system that we can then later break into little pieces? CQRS and event sourcing are a very nice technique for that. Yeah, exactly.
One thing so I just did the keynote with Allard for the Axonic show a week or two ago, right? But I was in Singapore doing it remotely, and I'll show you a photo of me like. I had the giant screen, but he was on stage at the conference, right? And I'm behind him in this giant screen, and he's like this, and my giant fingers on to pick him up, It's like, but anyway, like one thing that was, because when you mentioned a bunch of patterns, CQRS is one pattern you can do. It's just separating the writes from reads, right? Simple, right? And then another is event sourcing. I want to have a single record of truth, which is a stack of messages that if I were to replay them in order, would reconstitute the world state of my system. That's another thing. Okay. And then there's event sourcing, the aggregate, and domain driven design, the idea of the aggregate, which is I have an object whose state is controlled relative to this root object.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
And so all those things taken together are, you can do each of those by themselves. You can do aggregates with JPA. You can do event sourcing with Kafka. You can do weird, but you can.
Yeah.
You can do
we even have a system where we introduce this after the fact. So we actually have indeed, instead of event sourcing, we're just storing the current state of the aggregate as a JPA. But I would say for most, it doesn't really feel nice.
It's better together.
Yes, absolutely.
And this is why that guy somebody was complaining about how it was paradigm. It was like a very different thing to do, to use Axon, and that's because Axon actually seamlessly blends all three of these patterns. So that every app is using it's flexible. It's a Spring-based. It supports Spring, right? So it does have these like nice escape hatches.
Full all the configuration,
right? Which I helped. But no, he's really, the Axon team have done a phenomenal job. Do you see they have native image support now?
Really? I didn't see that yet.
I hope with that they have the that ad service connection stuff.
Yeah.
That he and I worked on that, and now you can do like Axonic server. As a ad service connection,
that's integration
container. It's just phenomenal. I'm like, hey, wouldn't it be nice if this was supported? And the next thing I know, I get like a message like we put it together. What do you think? I was like, what? They're often like because we are, as you know, our community, the Spring community. A lot of times people they twist and they bend and they use these interfaces that we provide, these abstractions, and they do amazing things.
It's one of the things that really drew me into Spring is that it has all of these nice extension hooks. It even gets to the point where you're working on some new part of Spring that you have never seen before, and you start thinking there must be something like this, and 9 out of 10 times there is, because you learn how these people think, and it's just so nice.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like it's not even necessarily from Spring; it's from Trifork.
Yeah,
it's from
it's just all consistent thing.
And we got some more questions. Okay, why should I, as a Java developer, learn Kotlin? By the way, somebody says, thanks, we'll try that. I love Spring. I am a fan. Okay, thank you very much for that. From two people who have worked on Spring for, officially for more than a decade. Like, thank you. We do that. We love this world and we love this ecosystem, I think, because of people like you, right? Just this. It's definitely not for the money. They pay me in they pay me in coffee, but it's just this amazing community of ours. Okay, so why Kotlin? Why? Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, well, actually, because I would say that most people just consider it a better Java. That's a bit of an easy answer.
And it's not because you're not saying this because they had Kotlin Conf here in Amsterdam.
No, I didn't even know I go there. No, although I think it's also partly related to what we do. It's some of the organization. But no, we started to look into Kotlin indeed because of things like the nullability features. Right. You don't get null pointers because you can declare if something can return null or not, and they have to explicitly deal with it.
Yeah.
I think although that has improved a lot, but Kotlin's functional programming APIs were nicer than Java's for quite some time.
I still think they're nice. Types are nice.
Exactly. And some things that really drew me to Kotlin when I first looked at it was that it had some of the like Groovy-like features and also syntax that it borrowed. And I was a Groovy fan.
Groovy's great.
Quite some time, actually.
Yeah.
But also innovative stuff like coroutines for doing async programming, but in a more natural way than doing everything on top of APIs. So getting some more built-in language support for that.
Suspend functions are amazing.
So those are some of the reasons that we do Kotlin, but we're not a Kotlin exclusive shop. We still do a lot of projects just in Java, and with Java 17, especially 21 now, there's tons of good stuff in there as well. So
huge. And well, that's the thing. I know this sounds ridiculous, but I was thinking about it. Like, your average JavaScript programmer writes more lines of code. Express the same thing as we can do now in Java 2.
It's also a lot of people, I think, also who haven't really kept up with Java itself as a language have a very weird idea of what the language still is. There has been so much stuff added to it, and it's I think it's a pleasure to work with still, actually.
Yeah, me too.
In many respects. Yeah.
Very, very nice language. We got a. You want to try, because I'm scared I might screw this up, because maybe I'm missing some. I don't know. Maybe I can take for granted certain things. We're going to try it again. What is the difference between variables and objects in Java, and what are the constructors?
Okay, I would say that a variable is basically a pointer, right? So it's a reference to an object.
I'll bet if this person doesn't know what a variable is, they don't know what a pointer is.
Yeah.
See, this is what I was worried about. I was worried that we would not be able to get. We're on step 10 and this person's on step 0.
Yeah, exactly.
They're trying to get to step 1.
Yeah.
Let's try again. Variables are a name for some value in the program. It's just a way. In programming, we talk about nominal names. Names. You want to give thing a name. This is not person. This is Joris and I'm Josh. So we are instances of an object called a person, but his name is Joris and I'm Josh. That's a variable. And then constructors are the. Do you know about functions? If you know about functions, then you know that you can pass in parameters and so on. So a constructor is a function that you use to set up the state, to set up the
basically when you think about classes and objects, a class is like a template. It's like a blueprint for how to create an object. It has certain variables, certain fields. So
name,
person,
age.
So a person could be a class. It could have a field called name, and a constructor is a way to say, give me an object of this particular type, of this particular class, and this is how you should create it. Right? You can enforce certain states. You can make sure that it corresponds to certain expectations when you use the constructor. That's the way, basically, that it works.
I like these questions. So I don't know what. So sometimes I get these sort of. This is like. I published you know what I did? I think I know what happened. Welcome to the channel, by the way. I think some of you are new, and here's why. I've been publishing like intro to Java.
Okay.
101 kind of stuff.
Draws in a new audience.
And I love that. And so thank you for these questions.
It is. I've also thought about, because both of us have been in this space for so long already. That it must be hard to start learning all of this stuff now from scratch, because we sort of grew with it.
Right.
It seems easier that way.
And I was talking to people about, so one of the things I love about Java. Have you been playing with the data-oriented programming support that Brian Getz was?
I've been reading a really nice blog from him about it. I haven't been using it myself yet, but I read the blog that he wrote, because it was finally one of the pieces that didn't just explain the syntax, but it explained the rationale, the motivation. Yeah, exactly. Really nice.
Was it on InfoQ?
Yeah, I think it was that one
last year, right?
Yeah,
August or whatever of 2022. Yeah. That's a great blog, and it's great. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But I wonder what that looks like if you then hear about OOP all the time. And
yes,
and
for strange.
Since 2014, you might have heard a little bit about functional programming, FP, and now you got DOP.
Even I had the same idea first when I read up on things like pattern matching, where you have like instance of checks. When you first look at that code, you feel like, hey, but this is against everything I learned, right? If I have code that uses instance of anywhere,
right,
I'm doing it wrong. Right. I should be using polymorphism. What's happening here? But it's a different style of programming.
Oriented programming.
That's why I like the article so much. It explained those type of things. So why would you want to do this?
Okay, so anyway, well, good questions. In terms of performance, what are your view on Java as compared to Python for developing something?
Trading. Python in by itself is super slow, but it's typically used to integrate things that are very fast.
Yeah, so
that's how it's with Python. Java itself is usually fast enough for most things. When it comes to high frequency trading, that sort of thing, if you're interested in that, you should be following Martin Thompson. He's doing Aaron, like high throughput networking. He's been doing things in the space of how to use almost no object allocations for effectively distributing work.
Ring buffers,
exactly that. That's into that space, but it's a very niche,
super niche. Trust me, that's Martin Thompson is not some kid who just graduated college. He's been down this rabbit hole for decades, and he's come out the other side with a long beard and
this is
some tablets.
If you're interested in this stuff, look up terms like mechanical sympathy. You will find it. And it even has he has stuff like, oh yeah, but if you code this as 7 bits instead of 8 bits, it will be more efficient to cache on the CPU cache level 1. It's stuff that I really don't know a lot about and don't typically care about because I build very different types of applications.
Yeah.
And it is definitely interesting.
Did I spell that right?
Yeah, I think it's nice. Yeah,
he's great. Okay, so anyway, all that to say, so the kinds of applications you're building these days. Put it another way. When was the last time you built your an iOS app?
Me personally, never actually.
Okay,
no, I'm not. No, we do a lot of backend focused stuff.
I was just gonna say, so the Trifork is in the business of like server side.
Yes, very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not out there building like somebody's new HTML5.
No, not typically. No, we do. Of course, we do have projects that involve things like maybe even native clients, web clients a lot. Right. But it's not our forte, really. The main thing that we're good at, that we're building, is backend oriented systems.
Yeah.
Could be integration related, APIs, lots of stuff with just APIs nowadays,
right?
In all sorts of different areas. But we definitely have front end as well. A lot of systems involved with exams and tutoring, that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
where we support certain standards for asking all types of different questions, not just simple multiple choice stuff, but like graphical rich things where you can draw in stuff, and then people need to show that they know where some place is on the country, for example, on a map, that sort of thing.
Super cool.
So that has a lot of front end
visualization. So it's not about how to translate that into your React view, but it's more about I know about geometry and I know about
also they have to code that sort of stuff as well.
Right. Yeah.
But indeed, me personally, for example, a lot of the things that I'm currently with are indeed integration and APIs.
Like Spring integration?
Not so much, actually. I have done a lot of stuff in the past with Spring integration. I like it to use at the boundaries of the systems, not so much for in the middle,
because you can hang it off the edge of microservice, you know.
Yeah, but I would know where a lot of what we do is on the outside is HTTP based, so it's REST controllers, it's REST templates still.
Sure. What about the what do you think?
Yeah, the new one. Yeah, it looks really nice
Yeah?
because I've been looking into the web clients for a long time,
Right.
and I always thought it looked super hacky to use it for a blocking application.
Yeah.
Just get the whole of Webflux in, the whole of Reactor in, and then just block on something that is async. It's like worst of both
It
worlds.
doesn't feel great.
We get threat switches, so you're logging
No.
and breaking. I couldn't really see the point.
Yeah.
Also, fortunately, a lot of people thought, because I think there was one article or someone who once said that REST template would be deprecated, even though it was not. That were
It's just sort of
no, but they got a bit afraid of the REST template and they weren't quite sure what was happening. And now, for people who have missed that, there is actually a new blocking REST client in Spring called the REST client,
right.
that reuses the REST template infrastructure. So if you already have stuff like interceptors written or HTTP message converters, you can just plug it in. But it has a newer API that is much more like the web client,
Fluid,
exactly that sort of thing. So yeah, that's definitely something I'm going to look into using.
And of course, our old friend, the JDBC template, now has a brother
yeah.
JDBC client. Yeah, which also, just like that, the interceptors for the REST template, the row mappers for the JDBC client, they're still
nice because that's where a lot of logic lives, right?
Totally.
So
otherwise, you're just calling methods, you're just chaining stuff.
Yeah.
We got okay. I want to learn Java concurrency, multi-threading. What do you recommend to get started? Don't.
Yeah.
Like my answer is don't. I mean, there's Brian Getz has Java concurrency practice.
If you really want, if you want to really learn that, that's the book I would recommend.
Oh.
I have it.
Yeah, we've all read it.
Yeah.
He's the only person that truly understands it. And even there, they're just.
Yeah. I also have the book on Java NAO2.
I
never read that completely. I couldn't make it through.
There's also Java.
So O'Reilly one.
Thomas Elliott. Thomas Elliott, was it? Who's the guy that hold on. Okay, we're on a live stream. Yeah. So we'll be back in a minute. So okay. There's a guy, Thomas Elliott, he did Java IO, the O'Reilly book. And Java, let's see, Java IO. He also did the
okay, so one
for J, I think. Java IO's second book.
Is that the one that also
Elliot Rusty Harold?
Yeah. Yeah.
Old
wasn't
name.
He did the web framework as well before that.
No,
you're
thinking of Howard Lewis.
Oh yes, I am.
Different guy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Tapestry guy.
Yeah, Tapestry indeed. I was thinking about that. So
old. So good though. And
Tapestry.
Do you remember the old Bio blog?
Yeah. Hani's back.
He's back.
He's back. He wrote not as the Bio blog, but he actually recently wrote a blog on Amazon. He's working for Amazon now, and they did something with
Is he hysterically funny still?
No, he became properly boring. It was actually a blog on what's it called? Bloom filters.
Oh, very
the use of Bloom filters.
He's such a
for caching stuff on the clients of the Amazon Prime.
So
look it up.
Hani Suleiman, he did this amazing blog called the Bile. You know, the bile, like the stuff that you use to digest your food. Bile, like the acid. You know,
server-side days.
The Bile blog, and he would just eviscerate well-known figures in the Java community. None of the blogs were flattering. But it was also kind of a big deal if you got BioBlog.
He did call out Rod Johnson for a doubly selected.
It's a kids channel.
Yeah.
And then also there was he called Howard Lewis Ship the bearded wonder.
Yes.
It's just like
yeah.
And I like Howard. You know, he's great. Hani HANI space SULEIMAN.
AIMAN. I think Sulaiman.
Sulaiman. Yeah. So BioBlog from the blog's no longer. It's been discontinued.
But he's still in the business. That's
he's out.
I know that's
He's hysterical. He's great. And by the way, when you meet him in real life, he's the nicest dude. It's just the coolest, most calm. It's just these blogs are like out of left field, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got some more questions here. Generative AI and Java. Oh yeah. So have you heard about? Do you have any? Is AI impacting your work?
Well, it will for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not using it that much myself yet for things like developer support.
Yeah.
I'm usually the person still that people go to for developer support.
Yeah.
But no, this is definitely something that I'm very interested in. And it was really only last week that I've started to dive in. They had at Davox, they had a ton of talks about LLMs and generative AI and how it interacts with Java.
Right.
So I'm just learning now about some new concept. And today here we actually had a talk from Mark Pollack about a new project called Spring AI, which is very much in line with some of the other things that were also presented at Devox. So it's about integrating with these tools through APIs, abstracting some of the differences so you can actually switch between them.
Yeah.
Making sure that you have your own local data, you can feed it into the models. That's definitely something that we're going to have a very close look at soon.
And this is one of those things where, again, if you know about this stuff, we'd love to hear from you because, again, it's an experimental, early days project. You know, please, and same for you. Come on, Trifork. You guys.
This is very exciting times in that sense because it opens up so many new opportunities. For programming, it's also super weird. We saw some examples today where instead of now configuring a framework, you have to actually prime this model with the English sentence and say, pretend you are this and this, answers this and this. I'll make sure you don't use too many words and summarize in 5 bullet points, please. Yeah, this is now our API.
It's amazing.
It's
and you can actually get it to give you like JSON or XML or
yeah. It's still structured. I think that's the interesting thing. It's not just string in, string out.
So, okay, so let me see. What do we got? I've been working as a core Java developer just over a year in the industry. Welcome to the industry. Should I focus on frameworks or some specific concepts to grow myself as a software developer and upskill myself?
I would say my advice in general for these sort of things is focus on the stuff you're actually using in your day-to-day job, but learn it deep. That's what most people don't do, right? Most people either just are all over the place. They want to learn everything about everything, which is too much and too hard.
Right.
Or they just learn the stuff that they need to get by and they never get deep. My advice would be learn the stuff that you actually use, but do it deep.
Right.
Because that will always benefit you. Yeah.
Always.
And this is also what I did with Spring.
Yeah. And by the way, you can never learn everything, so don't bother. Just
exactly.
Learn the stuff that applies to your domain, get good at it.
Like exactly. You need focus. You need focus.
People asked about learning, and Deshaun just came in with a great answer, which is Spring.Academy. You can learn all about Spring.
Yeah.
There.
And a little promotion here. If you want to take these courses like in a live classroom-based settings rather than online, we actually provide those because we are a VMware partner here in the Netherlands for the official Spring trainings.
That's from the source.
Yes.
And again, do you actually do any of those trainings?
Yeah, I do. I still enjoy doing that every now and then. Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
I'm probably the person doing this for the longest time who's still doing it.
Well, because you
in the world.
the best.
I'd be surprised.
You were doing it back before Spring Source, during Spring Source. That's so weird.
Already, yeah.
Okay. Anything I should point? So GOTO. So I don't have to tell people they need to go to one of those conferences. They're fantastic. I just bleeped myself out because they're amazing, but it really is just one of the best shows on the planet. Obviously you've heard me gush ebulliently about your spin-off there, Axonic. I'm a big fan there as well. What about Trifork.nl? Is that the website?
Yeah, we actually, it's funny that you mentioned that because we only just launched that. It used to just redirect to trifork.com for ages. But I think since a month or so, we now finally have our own website. So indeed, trifork.nl if you want to learn more about what we're doing here.
Yeah, Trifork. So Trifork.nl.
Yes.
Learn all about this amazing, and by the way, this company, even Trifork has been around for at least a decade now.
Yeah, they
used forever.
They had their own certified J2EE 1.4 application server in the past.
1.4.
Yes, I think it was.
That was before 2005.
This was EGP2, I think.
Yeah.
Like
that is a long time ago. So, will AI affect the jobs? Yes.
Yeah. It will.
Yeah.
But I think like most of these things, it's not a matter of will it cost jobs, right? It will just change jobs.
Force multiplier.
Exactly. That's why I think.
Okay, my friend.
Hey,
thank you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
My pleasure. Look at these great questions we got. We got a CTO from one of the most visible companies in the open source world to sit here and explain constructors, which is like thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the great questions, everybody. I can see they're packing up the conference, so we should get out of here before they get mad at us. Bye, everybody. Thanks.